The lost World War II fire hack that burned for hours. There's a moment in every war story where, the smallest detail just flips the script. A hidden trick, a forgotten technique. Something so simple yet so brilliant, you almost get a bit annoyed that nobody talks about it. That's really the energy today. Because during World War II, there was this fire method, quiet, stubborn, almost ghost-like, that burned for hours without giving off the one thing that could get you killed. Smoke. A flame that could warm you, feed you, and keep you alive, all while staying invisible to the enemy. And, well, yes, it still works today. Let's break down how soldiers, partisans, and desperate civilians kept themselves alive using a fuel trick so clever it honestly belongs on every survivalist's skill list. Why controlling fire meant controlling survival in World War II. Once the shooting started, fire became the ultimate double-edged sword. Troops freezing on the Eastern Front, resistance fighters hiding in dense forests, civilians rationing heat while bombers prowled overhead. Everyone needed warmth, but a normal fire? That was as good as waving a bright red flag at aircraft or snipers. One thin column of smoke drifting up through the trees could end a hiding place, a camp, or a life. So, while armies issued their own fuel tablets, the Germans relied on compact hexamine Esbit blocks and the Allies tinkered with the infamous Tommy cooker. The real innovation came from people cut off from supply lines, people who had to improvise. They didn't have factories, they didn't have engineering teams, they had whatever they could scavenge. And under pressure, they cracked the code for a fire with no smoke, and frankly, no skill level required. Wartime survivors, had to get creative, so they engineered a fire that didn't betray them. What they came up with was, essentially a solid fuel brick designed to burn efficiently enough that smoke, the telltale sign of incomplete combustion, simply didn't form. And, honestly, the brilliance was in the simplicity. The formula was so stripped down that anyone could replicate it, from resistance units in occupied territories to stranded patrols scattered across the Pacific. They used 3 basic parts: a carbon source like charcoal dust, an energy-rich fuel, like rendered fat or wax, and something to help bind and shape the whole mixture. Sometimes it was soap flakes, sometimes tree resin, and sometimes just clay scraped from a riverbank. Blend it, shape it, let it cool, and you had a stealth fire source that could boil water, fry hardtack, melt snow, or warm cold hands, without sending up a single smoke plume. What made it work wasn't magic. No, it was pure chemistry. The charcoal provided clean-burning carbon. The fat or wax vaporized into hot-burning hydrocarbons. Together they burned so completely that there was almost nothing left to escape as smoke. Some flames burned reddish at the base, others a faint blue. But from a distance, almost nothing to see. How the mix was made in the field when every second counted. Let's run through one of the common wartime methods, something you can still use today, whether you're off-grid or out in the wild. First, they heated the fat or wax until it liquefied. Then the charcoal dust was slowly mixed in until the whole thing thickened like heavy mud. That thickness mattered. It determined how long the block would burn. After that, a pinch of binder was tossed in. anything that helped the mixture hold shape. Then they packed it into whatever moulds they had. Sometimes it was a tin cup, sometimes the inside of a carved-out piece of wood, sometimes even an eggshell. Once cooled, the finished fuel cakes were hard, dense, and nearly waterproof. Light one with a spark, and you got a long, steady flame that refused to smoke. It wasn't a bonfire, it wasn't bright, but it worked. And most importantly, it kept people alive in forests, bunkers, ruined towns, and mountain passes where open fires would have been suicidal. Why this World War II method still matters for modern survivalists. Let's be honest. If you're into bushcraft, prepping, or even just wilderness camping, stealth fire is a skill that instantly upgrades your capabilities. There are moments, quiet campsites, crowded shelters, nighttime cooking, where controlling smoke isn't about life or death, but it is about comfort, privacy, and efficiency. And the best part? You can replicate the entire World War II method at home with two main ingredients: beeswax and powdered charcoal. Melt the wax gently. Mix in the charcoal until it thickens. Add a touch of binder if you want a firmer brick. Let it harden. Done. You now have a smokeless, long-burning fuel block that works in wet weather, in cramped shelters, or in situations where you need heat without attention. You can stash these in your kit. You can make them during emergencies. You can even bury them as hidden caches, the same way resistance groups once did while moving behind enemy lines. It's not theoretical. It's not flashy. It's real survival knowledge rooted in one of the toughest eras of human history. Why this forgotten hack is worth practicing today. This method isn't famous. It doesn't show up in most documentaries or military manuals, but it absolutely deserves a place in any modern survival toolkit. It's fast, it's cheap, it's reliable, and it connects us directly to the ingenuity of people who didn't have the luxury of trial and error. They got one shot. They had to get it right. Recreating this fuel today is one of the best hands-on ways to understand the resourcefulness of that wartime generation. And once you try it, you'll see exactly why so many soldiers and partisans relied on it. It's low smoke, low signature, high impact. One of those quiet tricks lost to most people, but still powerful when rediscovered. If you want more hidden survival knowledge and deeper dives into forgotten World War II tactics, make sure you subscribe to HistoryHQ and share this video with a fellow history fanatic. Keeping these skills alive is how we honor the people who first used them, and how we stay prepared today.